So next activity is automating this register page, right? So we have different uh, text boxes here which needs to be filled, and there are some check boxes, some radio groups, and there are some list items which needs to be filled. Now the thing is, um, few things are very easy in Selenium. For example, clicking on some button and setting some text in some text box. But where the real complexity comes in in order to find that specific element. So finding is always tricky. Performing the operation is not that tricky. So finding, previously, prior to this one, you remember what we were doing last time? We were doing this one, where we were trying to find an element using its ID, isn't it? This is what we have been doing. But unfortunately, somehow, if you try to find this element, you won't find ID, right? So there is no ID present here. There's something called as ng model, something here maybe. If I go to email, maybe some type is there, but one thing is there, that is ng model is everywhere. So instead of ID, we have an attribute called as ng model. So we have to somehow try to find this way of identifying the element. Now if I go here and I do a dot, I don't find any ng model here. I All I find is ID, class name, name, CS selector, link text, partial link text, tag name, and XPath. That's all I have. I don't have any ID present here, so I cannot use ID here, right? So what I will now use here is, I will be using something called as XPath. Okay. Now XPath is a concept which actually means the path of the element inside the document. What you see right now, it's called as document. You see doc type as HTML. So this is a document. It is again has a special kind of syntax called as HTML. HTML is comprised of tags. This is called a tag, and tag has attributes. So div is a tag and its class is an attribute. This is attribute value. Same way, if I go here, this is a tag, text area is a tag, rows, class, and ng model is its attribute, and these are their attribute values. So rows 3, so 3 is the attribute value of attribute rows from a tag element whose tag is text area. That's how basically it is organized. But one thing is also clear here is that there is a specific path to this element. There's a path to this element. That means it has a parent, and then this parent has another parent, this parent has another parent. So this HTML is actually nothing but an hierarchical model. It's an hierarchy, or also called, you can understand it as tree model, right? That's how your folder structures are organized. And remember, each folder, no matter what folder file you have, each folder file has a path, a specific path, right? So what is valid for that file path is also valid for an element path, and in as a document we call it as XPath. Okay. Now each element has a path, and this path can be of two types, either absolute or relative, right? Absolute is, if I want to go to text area, how can I go? I'll say go to HTML, then go to body. Inside body you have a section, inside section you have a div, then you have another div. Inside that you have to go to second div. Inside second div you have to go to this and that, right? You have to second div, you have to go to form, then from form you have to go to second div, and then inside second div you will find another div. Inside that you find a text area, and that's where this element is. So this is a unique path, something similar to files and folders, right? So we make use of this XPath to uniquely identify it. This is what I have just traced. This is an absolute XPath, but I can also find a way to relatively identify it. So I can say, if I have an attribute called as ng model, whose value is address, and I know this, right? This uniquely identifies this specific element. So why not just use this attribute to locate this? How to do it? So this, there is some syntax is available how to write XPath. So you just click, press Control Find, Control F, and this pop-up will open. Okay. And here you have to start writing your first XPath. So first XPath which I'm going to teach you is actually relative XPath. I'm not going to talk about absolute XPath. Absolute XPath is very simple, like you trace it from the top. So you say slash HTML slash body slash div. No, sorry, you will go to section slash div. Okay, that the first div, then you go inside another div. You see, every time I write here, this is being highlighted, that this is the path of this specific element. Then I do, this is one, this is two, I have to go to two. So I'll say div 2. I was not intending to talk about absolute, but never mind, I'll just better tell it. So we are here, then I'll go where I have to go to
हेलो सर,
form, right? So
सॉरी
I,
सर
yeah,
डिस्टर्ब हुई।
carry on.
सर क्या आप स्क्रीन जूम कर सकते हो क्रोम की ब्राउजर की? मेरे को दिख नहीं
यार
रहा है।
ब्राउजर की स्क्रीन में ये कर सकता हूँ, पर मैं आई डोंट नो हाउ टू मेक इट बिगर, लेट मी सी.
Sir,
The
just
bottom
go
of your screen not
control
visible.
plus plus, sir.
अरे यार, I don't have a mouse.
Control plus plus.
I don't have a control.
Command plus plus.
I'm trying. Wait, yes, yes. Thank you for that. Right. So I think now you can see. Let me
Yeah.
make it bigger. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so we are here form, right? And then in the form, I will go to this first, this is second. So I will say inside form, go to second div. Then I will say in the second div, I have to go to div here. So this is the first div. So we'll say div first. And then inside this, I have to go to text, not text area, text area. So I have found it. You see? So this is the XPath of this specific element. Okay. And this XPath is what I can use inside here. So how I will write it? I will simply say, let's say I'm in this. So I'll say driver dot find element by dot XPath, and here I will paste this, and I'll say send keys Akash. Yeah, whatever you wish to write it. Oops. Okay, so this is how you set XPath. Now this is an absolute XPath, which is not a good thing to have, because developer can add any div in between, and if he adds any div in between, the page will still the same, but your XPath will not work then, because let's say there is another div somewhere here, then this will not work. Okay, so you will have to add another div in between. Let's say developer added something, then you have to add that div. So these kind of issues are there with the absolute XPath. So absolute XPath should never be used. Another way of finding XPath is, which is very simple, but you should never use it because it's not always accurate, is to go and right click on any element, go to copy, and copy XPath. So if you copy this XPath, it will copy you the XPath. This is the XPath it has copied. Or you can say right click, oh come on, right click, uh, copy full XPath. So it will also copy the full XPath. This is what we have written, if you notice. So full XPath gives you the absolute XPath, or you just copy the XPath, it will give you the relative XPath. So relative XPath it has given is this. So it is trying to identify this element based on its some ID, which is actually from here. So it is saying at the rate ID this. I'll explain what this is, and then saying once I have found this, then I am actually able to navigate this and this and till this point. Div to div and then text area. So it has found this. So this statement from here to here is able to identify this element, and after that it is saying go to second div inside this. So first div, second div. So I am here second div. Inside second div, go to another div, which is this one, and inside this you have a text area. So this is how it's able to identify. But you should never be using these kind of XPaths, which is auto generated by the browser. Rather, we'll write our own XPath, which is much more simpler. So RXPath. So now let's write RXPath, and I'll explain it how it works as well. So the relative XPath, the key to writing relative XPath is double slash, which actually means find anywhere in the document. Anywhere. This means anywhere. Then you mention the name of the tag. So I'll say I want to find a tag called as text area, which is which could be anywhere. So that's the reason I'm writing double slash. So find a tag anywhere in the document which has a name as text area, and then I will use square brackets, also called as predicate, where I could write the condition. So this is where you write the tag name, this is where you write the condition. So the condition is that the attribute name, which is named as ng model, I'll just copy it. So I'll say at the rate. Wherever you see at the rate in XPath, this means the attribute. If you want to access the attribute, you always use at the rate. So at the rate ng model is equal to the value as address. This is your XPath. This is showing 1 of 1. That means it has uniquely identified, and you always make sure that is always 1 of 1. When you write an XPath, it is, and you want to use it somewhere in the code to perform some operation, you always make sure it is giving you 1 of 1. Otherwise, that means if it's not 1 of 1, that means it's a problem, because then you will have multiple elements returning, and then your code will become will not be able to know which element to click, because it is finding duplicates. So idea of locating an element is that it has to be unique. So now I am able to uniquely identify it. So now I can write this here saying I can, instead of using this, I can write this short version of the XPath, which is more robust. If something changes at the top, this will not change. And this is the right way to find the XPath. So we should not be copying this kind of thing. It might work, but it's not always good to do. Okay, so always try to write your own XPath, which is very simple way to do it. Okay, so let me just start doing it. So I'll go here in the first name. I will say what is the ng model for this is first name. So I will just start writing. So driver dot get, sorry, and if I'm not wrong, I think someone sent me some repo, never mind. So I'll just simply do a find element by dot xpath. Here I will simply say double slash input at the rate ng model. By the way, you should not do it. You should write the XPath in the browser and then check whether it is right, and only then copy it here. So I'll just remove this and put it here. What it is showing me, nothing. So I'll just say, yeah, so this is giving me my first name. That means this is correct. So I will just copy this here, and yeah, this I've already copied it here already. So I'll just say I want to send keys here, and I will say Akash, and that is how I will just write all my statements. So ng model for first name is then this is my last name, so I'll just copy it here, and make sure you always copy paste. Don't try to type it out, because when you type it out, you always make mistake and things will stop working. So better copy and paste. Then for address, we already have it, so I'll just put it here, address. I'll change the value also. Then email address, this is my email address. Then my phone number, so my phone, okay, and then my this gender, so this is what it is, rate value is, yeah, so this is something which is worth mentioning. So now if you go here, this is different, because if you see, I have, if I only use ng model, so if I say ng model as radio value, now the problem here is it's one of two. That means it is able to find two values out of it. You see, if I click arrows on these arrows, it is able to give me either male or female. That means it's giving me two specific values for the gender. So I cannot just make use of ng model. I have to make use of something else which uniquely identifies this or female or male specific radio group or radio button. So what I'll do, I can make use of two properties here. So if I see, if I go here and if I say ng model as radio value and value is male, right? So I can make use of these two attribute and their values. How? Simply by using logical operator of AND. So I will say AND at the rate value is equal to male, and now I'm uniquely able to find it. And if I want to do female, if you wish to do it as female, you just put it like this here. So you put as female here. So now it is uniquely identifying the female one, this one. Okay, so you can use logical operators. I will prefer to use male here, so I will just copy this, and then I will be using this specific XPath to do what? To do a click operation, because this requires a click. So phone, then email is akash dot gmail.com. Let's say phone is okay, and then the click operation for selecting the gender. So I've selected the gender, and similar thing goes with the checkbox also, it seems. So here it's value as cricket. So here we don't have any, we don't have any ng model, so I can make use of value, right? So I can make use of type and value. So I can say, I'll remove this one. Always remember, if you want to access the attribute, you always will make use of at the rate. So at the rate type is equal to checkbox. If I simply do this, I get three option, one of three. You see, this one, or this one. Cricket, movies, hockey. Cricket, movies, hockey. But I want to click on, let's say, cricket and movies only. So I will say what? I will say and I will say value as cricket, right? So I will say at the rate and at the rate value. Value is what? This specific value, attribute name is equal to cricket. So now I'm able to uniquely identify it, isn't it? So that's what I will do. I'll copy this and I will just move this one dot click. Oops. Dot click. And let's say I want to add two of my hobbies, cricket and movies, for example, which is, I think, everyone's hobby. So I'll say movies. So it will click on cricket and it will find movies and it will click on it. Uh, then, of course, first of all, and next thing is, it's not required to have two property. If you can make use of only one property, it's also okay. For example, this cricket, right? If I remove this one, it is still able to uniquely identify it, because value as cricket is the unique entity, unique value, attribute, and its value. So it is able to uniquely identify it, which is still okay. Another thing is, you don't even need this. So you can, instead of saying, you say star. So when you say star, it says find anywhere in the document with tag name with any value whose attribute value is cricket. So this is what it means when you put a star here. And that's how, if you see, that's how it also copy. Let's see what this generates. So if I use this, so you see, this is what it is trying to do. It is trying to say star id checkbox 1. But this is not right. Checkbox 1 doesn't mean anything, and that's where things go wrong when you rely on auto generated values from the browser. So never use these kind of things, because it doesn't always generate the right way of the XPaths. Always rely on your own manual instincts on how, what would be the unique value. So here, but it is saying star. That means star here represents find any kind of tag. So double backslash means, forward slash means find anywhere. Star means any tag, and then you mention the tag values. Okay, and we can use here value is equal to cricket. So it will be able to uniquely identify it. Let's say I will use this one here. So instead of this, I will use this one. Oops, we need what did I do? Oh, okay. I'll just put this. So make sure you put single quote, not double quotes there. Okay, now I've clicked on this, clicked on movies. Then comes the language. Let me quickly do the language also, since we are doing everything. So here what we have in language, we have, okay, this is what, a drop down or a checkbox. This is something different. Let me not do it right now. This requires some more explanation. This is a multi-select option, so we'll try to do this in a separate way. This could be a bit complex for now, so we'll not do it. Someone try to speak something. I get some. Satya, you want to say something?
No, sorry.
Okay, okay. Yeah, carry on.
We can also After that value and text value, we can put a square bracket in that we can put a number so that it can identify the checkbox number 1, 2, and 3rd.
You're talking about this one, cricket and all?
Yeah.
No, number you will not be able to make use of numbers here. Numbers are not a safe way of identifying a box. For example, if
After
I
putting export value, then after the at the rate value, cricket after that bracket, we can put a square bracket in that 1, 2, 3 numbers so that it can identify the space there is a checkbox number.
uh, so what do you want? Can you ping me? What exactly are you thinking of putting here? You are trying to say when I put input here, and I'll type here checkbox. So I'll say type
After
as checkbox. So I'm getting three values. Then you are saying I can have like one or two like this.
yeah, we can put the one so it automatically. Hey, after the bracket completion, if we put the square bracket one, so it will select the first checkbox.
See, this works. For example, if I say one here, it will give me cricket. If I say two
Yeah,
here, it will give me movies. If I say three here, it gives me hockey.
yeah, same.
So this is not the right way to do. That's what I'm trying to say, because these numbers can change. What if the developer adds something in between cricket and movies? Then the index of movies will change. So you think when you code, you will say, okay, two is movies. But let's say he added something else between cricket and movies. Then two will not work. Two becomes something else. Movies becomes three. Getting it? So this indexing is not the right way to handle the locators. Always avoid to use any kind of indexing, hard coded index. You always should be trying to find the unique values for that specific element. Never try to use indexes until unless there is no unique values. Then sometimes people have to make use of indexes. Only cases where there is no uniqueness, then maybe last resort is index. But you should always avoid it. Okay. Make sense?
Okay,
Yeah. So always avoid it. Always try to use something, an attribute and its value, which is should be unique. So you need uniqueness. So in this case, the unique value here is value cricket. That's what we have been using. Language I'm skipping right now. This is a bit complex, so let's not get into details of language, which anyway is not mandatory. So we'll not use it. Now let's come to this one, which is drop down. So how to handle drop down is what I'm going to talk about next. So for drop down, there's no direct way of doing it. There's no like driver.find element and do drop down. For that, Selenium gives you a class called a select class. So what we'll do, we'll create a select class here. Select, we'll say, what is it? Skills list or skills drop down. And here I will say is equal to new select. And when I do this, it won't work because it is expecting something here. It is expecting some argument in between, which is, if you notice, is a web element. If you hover on it, it will tell you org.openqa selenium.web element. So it is expecting a web element. What is that web element? So that web element is the parent of select. So the parent here is what? ID is skill. So we have an ID here as well as ng model. So I can directly use ID here. So what I'll do, I will first create a web element. I'll say web element uh, skills list element. I'll say driver dot find element by dot id skills. This gives me the element, and this element I will pass here. So once I do this is a two steps process. So you have to do this to do anything with this list, and then I'm able to do skills drop down dot, and it gives me option to handle or select values from the drop down. So there are actually three ways of doing it: select by index, select by value, select by visible text. So if I can make use of any of these, so select by index is about using indexing. So this has index 0, 1, 2, 3. So indexing is never good, so we will not be using it. We will say the two other values, other ways of doing it: value or visible text. So value, if you want to select by value, that is this value, then you have to select by value. Then you have to copy this and paste it here. Then it will select by value. If you want to don't want to do this, you want to do select by visible text, this actually means this value. So in this case, luckily both the things are same, so you can make use of this or that, but ideally it's always good to make use of visible text and not by value, because this value could be anything, but visible text something which what user sees. So you should always be try to do it with the visible text. So I will make use of visible text here. Okay, and I think that's it. That's all the control which you need to know, because other controls are almost the same. This also is the same, this also is the list, this also is different. So this skip this for now as well. I think this is should be simple. This is, there's no special way of doing it. You have to search, just type India here, and then you have to find this element, and then you have to click on this specific element marked as India. Okay. uh, another thing is in XPath is you can also use the text of the element to identify the identifier. For example, previously so far we have been only doing what, we have been only using the attribute and its value, but now we'll also can make use of text. So this is the tag name, li is the tag name, class, role, area selected is its attributes, and these are its values. But this what comes between these tags is called as the text of it. So if I want to identify the element using the text, because in the attribute I'm not able to see anything which is unique. This is not looks doesn't look like unique, this doesn't look like unique, this doesn't, area selected doesn't look like unique. India looks like unique here, right? So I will say text is equal to India, and tag name is li, right? So now it is able to identify it. So this skills is a two-step process. First is, or rather three-step. First is you click on this, no, sorry, select country, you click on this, it gives you a pop-up, then you enter something here, second step, then a country will come here, then the third step is this. So you have to identify three elements, and every time you have to first send keys and do a click. So this could be a challenge for few of you. Try to do this as an assignment, as an activity. Okay, and then rest of things are simple drop down. So we already discussed how to use drop downs. You always have to create this kind of operation. Find the element first, then perform this select class, and then use select by visible text there. And then submit button is very simple. You just here the same thing. You can use name property here, so you can simply say double slash but oops double slash button, uh, where is it, yeah, double slash button, and then name as @name is equal to sign up, and that's it, right? So this is also you can use to identify it. You can also use type as submit, id as submit button, because it has id also. So you can also use like id directly. You can use XPath with id to identify. This is also is okay. This also can be done. uh, any questions so far? Let me also run this. So what happened? Oh, let me also run this much to show you how things work. So if I just go and right click and run it, I have one more thing to talk about. Oh, this is a wrong page, so it has failed. So let me put register here. This is where you want to navigate. So I will just run it again. What happened? uh, oh, capital R. You see, always try to copy paste. Okay, still some problem. it couldn't find first name. Why it couldn't find first name? Oh, I think you have to first click on it. So you have to first do what? You have to do a click operation, and then the first name will come, something like that. Never mind, just try it. It's not going to be that difficult. Just one last thing I have to talk about is I have to put something here which is called as implicit wait, because the speed of the application is not matching with the speed of the code, and this could be the reason why my test is failing in the first place. So after you initialize a driver, you have to put something called as implicit wait. So I'll say driver dot manage dot window dot no, I made a mistake. Manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait, and here you have to mention how much time you want to wait for your browser to respond. So I'll say I will wait at least for 20 seconds. If nothing comes in 20 seconds, then I will say it's a fail. Else I will wait at least 20 seconds. If it happens before, let's say in 10 seconds only, then I will go forward. So it's a dynamic sort of wait. It's not like thread.sleep. It's not a hard wait, it's dynamic. So this is something which you always should do when you actually create a WebDriver. Second thing here is to maximize the browser. So I'll say what? I'll say driver dot manage dot windows dot window dot maximize. So right now when you see when I open it, it's not maximized. So I'll always, whenever a browser is open, I would like to maximize it, and then I will basically do a navigation. So let's do it again. Let's see if this works this time. I'll say run. It should open the browser. See, maximized, navigated. Let's see if it is doing it now. What is the error? Wait, let me see. So it worked now. I think fail again. It is not filling address. Why it is not filling address? So see, these kind of errors you will encounter. I know why it's not filling it, because not able to find it because I made another stupid mistake of writing input box here. This is actually text area. I was just copying and pasting, and that's why this happened. So it is not able to find it. That's how it tells you. So it says I waited for 20 seconds, but there is no such element. Unable to locate element XPath with this, which is not there. So whenever this happens, you try to copy this and try to see if this is there. So I'll say inspect, and I will try to find this, and then I'm not able to find it. 0 out of 0. So that means this is not the right XPath. What is the right XPath? I should be using text area here. So this is the right XPath, and that's what I will just copy this and paste it here. And that's how this is how you resolve issues step by step. Okay, I'll run it again. So it's working. It selected analytics here. Country, it did not select because I haven't set it. So it's working, the code is working. And that is how you have to create this specific script of filling this page. I have more things, but I would rather not go through it because few of you have like really started just now, so I should not be telling you more stuff. But in this week, I will be giving you some more. So I will be waiting for you to complete this assignment. This should be taking at least a day or two, not more than that. So once you're done with this by let's say Monday or Tuesday, I will give you one more assignment for some more pages. Do that as well, and by next week we will be doing the same thing but with the use of a framework, a test framework. So we will start with some JUnit framework first, where you should be able to put some validations also. If you remember, we were putting validations like this, but this is not the right way to put validation. No if conditions, system out, println. This is not the right way. We need to find a way to use or put assertions using some framework, and that's what we are going to do in the next sessions. So coming days, I'm going to give some more assignments to you. Please do those assignments. 2 or 3 assignments I'm going to give. So do that so that you will be busy with the Eclipse and Java, and then next week JUnit. So I will ask you to pre-read JUnit as well. So I'll send some pre-reading material on JUnit as well. So you also have to do that as a part of your assignment. Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah.
Why we did these of things?
Why we did what?
Why we did these of things? That
I didn't get it. Why we did what?
actually ये सब हम लोग को ने किए, ये क्यों कर रहे हैं हम लोग ऐसा?
Acha,
My question.
why we are doing all this, is it?
Hmm.
Okay, good question. So, see, the thing is, let's take an example of Amazon.in, okay?
Okay.
So Amazon.in is a website, right? And you are using it. But this is not, this has to go to come to see this page. A lot of things are happening behind the scene. There's a development team, there is a man, there is a client, there is a business analyst people, and there is also a team called as test team. So the
Okay.
idea is that developer will develop the product and then the tester will test it. And once tester will test it and say, yeah, things are working, functionalities are working, then the product will be launched to the end customer or the people like us. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what is called as, so what we are trying to do is to test the application. Now let's say this is the application you want to test, and let's not assume this is Amazon.in. Let's say this is a dev environment, a different URL which is only accessible to testers. So testers will come and try to test the application. Now what are the functionalities here? The first functionality, most common functionality, is the search. So you will be able to search something like computer or laptop. So you will say, okay, I typed laptop here, clicked on search button, laptop is coming. Yeah, laptops are coming. When I click on this specific button, it is opening a new tab, and then I'm able to see the details. This is your test cases. You are a tester and you are testing the application, whether the application is working fine or not. Then you should be able to click on add to cart, click on buy now. This pop-up will come, then you click on add to cart. So these are your steps which you're taking, but you're taking them manually. So you're doing them manually. But these kind of applications, these softwares, they become huge. There are a lot of functionalities there, and every time there's a new enhancement comes, you have to do the same thing again and again and again. So there is a lot of manual activity involved. So the idea of automation is you should automate this process of testing. So instead of doing it manually, you should be having a software which is able to test the application automatically. So it's just a software trying to test another software, right? So what software we are using? We are using Selenium. So Selenium has a capability to automate or interact with the browser. So what we are trying to do here is to impart this intelligence of interacting with the browser or elements of the browser. And once we do that, we'll also put some assertions here. We'll put some validations. Okay. So once this script is ready, now let's assume this was our page. What is our page? Let's say this is the page. A developer created this page and they have asked us to test it. So how we can test it? One way of testing it is we will come here to this page, manually put the values and click on submit, and we'll say, yeah, the application is working, right? This is a manual way of doing it. What is the alternative here? Alternative is here that we actually write this script, something making use of Selenium. We write something like this, so that whenever someone comes to us and say, can you test it, we will not test it manually. We'll just click on run button. The moment we click on run button, the Selenium or Java code will start the browser and start putting in values, and then eventually will tell us, yeah, the page is working fine, the functionality is working fine. Okay, so this is why we have been doing this. So we are trying to learn how Selenium interacts with the page.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Got it, right? So this is what we are trying. We are trying to automate the manual step.
Means we have to test only, right?
Yeah, how to test, right? So we are trying to write a robot to test. For example, there are
Okay.
many things which happen manually and you want to automate it, right? In industries, in manufacturing industry, for example, there are previously people used to make things by hands, manual labor, right? Now they have put in machines to do exactly the same thing.
Right. Right.
That's automation, right? So that's the same thing we are doing here. Here we are automating test. That's why we call it automation test or test automations. We are trying to automate this testing process, which was manually done before. We're trying to automate this process. That's the why the term comes as automation test or test automation.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What else, guys? So we are taking things slow now. I Yesterday was very slow. Today, relatively faster than yesterday. And in coming weeks, we are going to pick up more pace. And to catch up with that pace, you guys really have to practice a lot in this week. This week is very crucial for you guys. So this week I will be giving assignments. Try to master all the thing which I have just told you. XPath and this driver basic operations, and the same thing we'll try to do with the JUnit framework. Okay, so please do this as quickly as possible. Spend at least 20 hours this week. If you have not done so previously, it's okay, but now at least 10 is less, I would say. At least try to at least minimum 20 hours this week, at least 2 days, 2 hours, 3 hours in the next 7 days. And then I think you will get a good background, good understanding of how Java really works. Okay, any more questions, concerns, issues, whatever?